Good morning, good morning. What am I doing here? Perfect. Let's get rid of that guy there. We need Google. Nope. Day one Dan. Day three, we got the pillar. We're gonna put new window. Put that guy over here. Go live. Allow. You got the webinar. All right, welcome. We have day three of the sync. We are going through the pillar. So just for today, you're gonna have that intention. So today, I am finding my center. I will use my breath to create a shield of stability, ensuring that my strength comes from within, not from an external appearance. I am committing to the deep internal work that protects my spine and anchors my movement. The mindset for the Day One Den mindset for today is the unshakable core. The world will try to knock you off balance and pull you out of alignment. Your pillar is your internal Day One standard. It stays solid and braced regardless of the chaos or pressure happening around you. So being mindful of the day-to-day activities and being mindful of other people's energy or people's their approach and intention for their day, and making sure that you create that healthy bubble, that you make sure that you create that boundary of not allowing other people to dictate your energy or dictate your response in the day-to-day life of your energy, right? So I know I am definitely a victim myself, not victim, but I am definitely, I succumb to my lack of making sure that I keep myself on track and not allowing other people to influence my energy or influence my behavior. And so it is a reflection, and it is also a understanding of, okay, well, if I am getting upset because of constantly always getting I have to reframe my language here. So in the past that I'm trying to work on currently today is me in the past allowing other people or other people in my industry usually give the dirty look, or give that cold shoulder or that rudeness, or they see me as competition and therefore try to isolate me or to throw me off my game. Like, I understand, yes, in competition in sports, you want to get into into your opponent's mind, so to speak. And this, looking at my past behaviors of this, and not wanting to be a people pleaser, and to making sure that I have to, going forward as of today, is to not allow others to dictate my response to their negativity, or my response to an external force that's trying to throw me off. So my deep internal work, I have to protect my energy, I have to protect my posture and spine and my low back by being mindful and having an unshakable core, that core deep within. See, the world will try to knock you off balance and pull you out of alignment. So it is my best, what's the word I'm looking for? It's my best outcome. I have to making sure that I stay focused and I stay balanced, and I keep my focus on the goals at hand. And that is the world trying to pull you in different directions, and having that solid core and that base and that foundation. This is day 3, the pillar. Yesterday we were talking about the hips and the core and the low back. And the day 1 was having that grounding effect with your ankle and your feet, and being aware of the foundation and the stemming from that kinetic chain from the ground up. So now we have the pillar. Okay, so finding that balance, finding that center line. Okay, so your pillar is your internal pressure system. If you breathe into your chest, you destabilize your lumbar spine. If you breathe into your chest, you destabilize your lumbar spine. We are training the diaphragm to work in tandem with the transverse abdominis. Transverse is your corset, so to speak, to create a 360-degree intra-abdominal pressure. This is the seatbelt for your spine. And sorry, I'm not sharing my screen here. Share screen. This guy. So again, yeah. So just apologize for the replay here. Yeah. So the deep dive. So the pillar is your internal pressure system. If you breathe into your chest alone, the shallow breathing, you destabilize your lumbar spine. That's why breath work is key. That's why breath work is to create that gas or to that energy from that deep breathing. From shallow breathing, we as you can see here, we are destabilizing our lumbar spine, low back, spinal column. And then transverse abdominis, sorry, that seatbelt, that corset, that belt around the core. The diaphragm, multifidi, and the internal obliques. So you want to think of your pelvic floor, your diaphragm, your transverse abdominis, and your multifidi, your back, low back. Okay, so the pillar, the breath work, the internal pressure system, making sure that we stay grounded from our ankles and we stay grounded from the feet up, and we have that good solid core, that pelvic tilt, anterior posterior tilt. We have that in neutral, to making sure that our body is ready for that external load, either through our sport, through perhaps you might slip, right? So another common injury is slipping. Making sure that we can recover and we are able to put ourselves back into realignment in a real life situation. So the unshakable core, so making sure that a core is braced, like for kickboxing and boxing, when we throw and execute a jab or an attack, you always want to have that core braced on that execution. So for example, say if I was sparring with somebody, it's been years since I sparred because my elbows from holding pads for 21 years teaching martial arts now. But anyways, so when you are executing a punch or an attack, you exhale all that force from within, all that power, all that anger. In my case, I want to exhale that and make sure I release that pressure valve and do it in a healthier manner by hitting the heavy bag or the pad work. But in regards to sparring and to regards to having that deep core braced, when I execute that jab or that power punch, and if I'm listening to my opponent and their breathing is off key from executing that jab, if I counter and hit them in their core, they're going to get winded, and I'll have a more a positive advantage over this person because I hit them in the core wasn't braced. Their energy output wasn't matching their external breath or their breathing. Okay, so that's why you want to have that core aspect of your low back, of your transverse abdominis, the outside here. Okay. Yeah, so that's the pillar, and we had yesterday was the engine was for the hips, and the foundation was our ankle. Okay, so now if we go to our day 1 Den performance specialist. Okay, I already preloaded I put my information in there, my age and weight. I put body weight. Okay, so this 21-minute pillar block is meticulously designed for elite performance and injury mitigation, focusing on the intrinsic connection between diaphragmatic respiration and robust spinal stabilization. Okay, so robust stabilization for that spinal column, keeping that back safe, that posture safe, and that kinetic chain. So supine again, remember that is supine, so you're on your back. So we have your breathing for an expansion of a tempo of 5050. So you inhale deeply for 5 counts, focusing on horizontal expansion of your transverse, your TA. For a 360 degrees into your belly, lower back, and sides without chest elevation. Okay, so without chest elevation, you want to expand the rib cage, expand that belly. And of course, we have the quadruped, bulldog position, our cat and cow. And then we have our modified bird dog. From a stable quadruped position, slowly extend the opposite arm and leg, maintaining a perfectly still and neutral spine. Remember, again, we were talking yesterday about having that hot coffee or hot tea on your back. Make sure that doesn't spill and ruin your shirt. Creating space between the shoulder blades, synchronizing movement with a deep, controlled breath, segment by segment. Oh, sorry, that was the quadruped cat and cow. Oh, so yes, there you go, exactly. So imagine a glass of water. You see, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm very happy and very proud that it took me so many iterations and lessons and setbacks working with other apps. This is the one I built, and working with other apps, and it was great. Yes, I loved it, the video stuff and everything else, but it didn't feel right. And then now with this, just like I was just talking about, having that hot cup of coffee or hot tea on your back. And look, imagine a glass of water on your lower back. It must not spill. This is with the modified bird dog. Exhale as you extend, actively bracing the core to resist any spinal rotation or extension, and return with control. So having that core braced, having that posture, having that pelvic alignment, neutrality, neutral. And now we have our main performance block. So deep stabilizer, integration, and anti-rotation. So we have our dead bug. Okay, no, I was talking with another gym goer yesterday, and in my research into low back issues, I was talking to one girl, and I always see her at the same time, and I was skipping rope, and I seen her kind of waved at her. She had her earbuds in. I'm like, oh, you're not skipping today? And she's like, no, I kind of hurt my back. I'm like, injuries suck because once you get addicted, a healthy addiction to working out, you just want to get in there. You want to get in there because you see the results, and you see how happy you are, and you see like the benefits of working out consistently and eating healthy, and you elevate your mood, your aura is enlightened. It's expanded. But anyways, where I was talking to her, and she was talking about her low back, and just a quick thing I came across is have the dead bug, of course. I asked her, I'm like, are you gonna do any dead bugs? She's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do some right now on the turf. I'm like, sweet. Well, you can also add another one to decompress your spine. They say research. So you can go on your back and you can press your hands against the wall, because this is in response to, okay, well, if I can't dead hang when you're on a pull-up bar, you don't want to fully decompress or depression. You want to elevate, depression. Anyways, you want to be able to reset your scap and hold that position. And if that's too much, perhaps if you're coming from an injury and you want to work with something like that but modified, you can go onto your back, and you can perform a dead bug position, supine, and have your feet flat, knees bent, hip width apart, have your hands above your head, and press ever so slightly against the wall as an isometric, two forces coming together. And you can kind of press, and that should help out with your alignment of decompressing your spine, strengthening your deep inner core muscular system, and also your multifidi low back. And of course, you can also perform the dead bug, alternating leg raises. Yesterday, we were talking about the psoas hip march, or psoas marches yesterday. So like everything is kind of building off of each other for this, because these are the foundational moves and the body that we need to make sure that it is a solid foundation as I shake my desk, because we don't want to go into an event, in high rocks, an event, and not addressing our deep core, transverse, TA, our low back, our ankle work, our hip mobility, or lack thereof, and also incorporating clamshells, banded clamshells, side planks, external rotations, internal rotations of the shoulder of the scapula, using the mini bands, using the large bands for good mornings or for lateral band walks to activate the glutes. Make sure that once we do our glute bridges, are our heels are further away, or are they closer in at 90 degrees? Are we putting our feet onto a bench to feel a little bit more on that glute, to have more range? It sounds like a lot, but once you get into the habit and swing of things and you realize how much of your body feels and how you release the stress that may be trapped in your body by using a foam roller, by doing the stretching, by using the large bands for the rotator cuff and to give that external stretch. Then we have tall kneeling. Side plank. We have side plank. Okay, so with a side plank onto your knees for modification, you can have your feet stacked on top of each other or staggered. Or you can do the real tough one and put your feet inside the TRX, the handles for the side plank. But for this one here, we are going to work with the side plank modified or full with forced exhale. Assume a side plank position, either from knees bent or feet, ensuring a straight line from head to heel. Drive the bottom hip actively towards the ceiling. Now, as you hold, exhale forcefully, feeling the deep oblique and transverse abdominis muscles, creating a rigged pillar, resisting lateral flexion. Lateral flexion is just, so when you're in that side plank, you kind of want to raise up and then you hold that asymmetric hold, and you don't want to sag back down towards the supporting arm or supporting elbow. Perform 2 sets, 4 total for the side plank. Then we have a tall kneeling anti-rotation hold with arm extension. So onto your knees, knees tall, hips directly over the knees, core actively engaged as if bracing for impact. Okay, I remember back in the day when I had my gym and I would have my bow staff. You guys know I talked about the bow staff, and we would do the banana plank or front plank, kind of whack you guys into the core to make sure it's braced, obviously not hard. But anyways, yeah, just make sure you have that. So tighten that core. Okay, now extend both arms, flexion, straight out in front of you, focusing on maintain absolute stillness throughout the torso, resisting any tendency to sway, or to rotate. With each exhale, deepening your core brace, connecting your pelvic floor to your diaphragm, creating an immovable base cylinder block. Imagine an external force attempting to twist you and you're holding firm. Now, to modify this on a kneeling position, having that body fully upright, you can have a light dumbbell into your hand. You can do a pull-off press style to it by having a band connecting to an external pillar, having that band in front of you, and just hold that. Of course, when I have working with clients on this one, when they're holding that band, I'll come in the band and give it a little guitar string. So as it's vibrating, you have to fight, the core, shoulder has to fight that anti-rotation. Perform 2 sets with 30-second break in between. Right now we have the cool down, supine thoracic twist with breath. Lie supine on your back, knees bent, feet flat. Extend arms out to the side. Gently let your knees fall to one side, allowing a comfortable stretch in the low back and thoracic spine. Inhale into the stretch, feeling the expansion, creating space. Exhale and lower your body to gently relax deeper into the twist. Return to the center with control, then repeat to the other side. So similar to a core exercise for the windshield wiper, but this one here, you can have your hands into a T position to hold, making sure that your body and your cylinder block, your core stays still. And then inhale, both knees together, exhale to the one side, feeling that wicked stretch on the one oblique, and also 2 for that low back. And then of course we have our child pose with the posterior diaphragmatic breathing. 6 to 8 breaths from a kneeling position. Child pose, recovery pose, sitting onto your knees. From a kneeling position, sit back onto your heels and extend your torso forward, resting your forehead on the ground or a block. Allow your hips to soften. Also, when you're laying down forward, you want to release your low back and you want zero tension in your neck. And then supine hook lying pelvic tilts with breath integration. So supine, hook, lying, pelvic tilts. So lie supine with knees bent, feet flat, just like how we did the thoracic twist. Now gently rock your pelvis back and forth, articulating your lower spine. Inhale as you gently arch your lower back, anterior tilt. Exhale as you gently flatten your lower back into the floor, a posterior tilt. So having this awareness or the biomechanics to anteriorly tilt and anterior tilt and posterior tilt your pelvic spine onto the floor will loosen up that hip, and also also for glute bridges, and to have that awareness of that possible kinetic chain break for a squat or a deadlift, or if you're feeling into your low back. So being aware or having the ability to do the pelvic tilts is huge for your sport, for general life, for your low back, to keeping your core solid. Okay, so that's the Day 1 DEN specialist, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. So that is day 3 of the pillar. All right, remember the focus. So I am finding my center. I will use my breath, deep breathing, standing tall as you walk, being aware of your surroundings, making sure that you are keeping yourself safe, making sure that you're not just, zoned out into your headphones, into your earbuds, but being aware of your surroundings for any potential danger, perhaps maybe slipping, right? So just having that awareness and ensuring that my strength comes from within, not from an external appearance. Not from an external appearance, but my strength comes from within. I am committing to the deep internal work that protects my spine and anchors my movement. The DOD mindset for today is the unshakable core. The world will try to knock you off balance and pull you out of alignment. Your pillar is your internal day 1 standard. It stays solid and braced regardless of the chaos or the pressure happening around you. I'm Ryan Omiso, Day 1 DEN, Fighter Fit X. See you guys tomorrow for the horizon. All right, end call. Or stop recording. Hey, stop recording. And end the call. Back to school. So that was day 3, team. Okay, so making sure that it's solid pillar, having that core braced, right? Making sure that you're working at transverse abdominis, and also to have awareness of your pelvic tilts, anterior and posterior tilting, having those side planks, modification if needed. Don't forget your bird dogs, and also your dead bugs. All right, bye, see ya. Day 1 DEN, Fighter Fit X on school.